Hello, my name is Siku Allooloo. I'm one of the co-curators of the wɔŋən exhibition. I'm the daughter of Marie-Hélène Larocque, the founder of Indígena News from Indian America.
My name is Carmen Guerrero. I'm the co-editor of Indígena News with Marie-Hélène Larocque. I'm very happy to be here, being part of this exhibition, documenting the historical activism of women in our communities.
We're delighted to share with you the cover and the inside cover from their issue dedicated to Indigenous Women of the Americas from 1975-1976.
I was a student at Berkeley when I met Marie-Hélène, and I fell in love with her project, and I was able to be a contributor to Indígena for a few years. Indígena was the only bilingual newspaper in the whole American continent dedicated to issues of Native America. We were able to publish this newspaper and circulate it to many other areas. We shipped them to Europe, to South America, to Mexico, all over Canada, and we always partnered with Activism News, who was a monthly publication, and Indígena was a quarterly publication.
Yeah, at the time, Indígena had the most up-to-date and extensive reporting on Indigenous political movements in the globe. And it circulated all across the Western Hemisphere and was run by these brilliant, amazing, pioneering women who had a vision, a long-range vision, vast interconnected vision to interweave people from all nations, from all territories in a united struggle for Indigenous people, for life, for homeland, for love of culture, and for love of our world, and to keep each other united and strong and focused. With this exhibition with wɔŋən, it was really important to Marianne and Jerry and myself to unearth these histories that were never given proper documentation or recognition. The leadership of Indigenous women from all of these territories who did the lifelong work as leaders in their own right, as representatives of their homelands and their families and their people, and who worked in a spirit of sisterhood and solidarity, and also as women thinking of the future generations and thinking of all of the other life forms and everything that sustains our world for the betterment, and all the beings that can't speak for themselves, that it's our responsibility to hold up and that also in return sustain us. I am so fortunate to have Carmen in my life to be able to share stories from that time and from the love and the memory of that beautiful way of organizing in a spirit of love and connection and keeping each other's fire strong.
Thank you. I also see here in the exhibition that these women, these activists, pioneers, they're breaking the ceiling. They are also unsung heroes. A lot of us don't know about them. So this exhibition is just the beginning of sharing their history and also modeling leadership for the future generations. So that's why I feel it's really important to be here in this exhibition and to talk about these unsung heroes. We have so many of them. It would take us a lifetime to remember and honor all of them. But that's what our intention is.
Yeah. It's a dream come true, and it's so important because we were saying, where do you find this history? Unless you were connected in an intimate way through relationships with the women leading these things, where do you ever hear of this history? And I remembered when I was a student here at the University of Victoria, I did a degree in anthropology and Indigenous studies, and I was studying the Red Power movement. And I was looking through all these resources in the libraries and everywhere I could find, and I found incredible work that was led by Indigenous nations, but it always struck me so deeply that I could never find the voices of the women. Those were so rare, and I knew through the stories of my mother and the stories of Carmen that they lived this history. They lived the fight and the long-term struggle of Indigenous resurgence and Indigenous rights and Indigenous justice. and I was looking for them, and there was nowhere that could be found in all of my research in the archives. I had to talk to people. I had to talk to the women that I know to find this. And one of the most important things I found as a student was Marianne Nicholson's cliff painting, her 1998 cliff painting, which, you know, was such an important marker in our lifetime, to have an Indigenous woman make a mark on her territory in the tradition of her ancestors. That's a legal affirmation and a cultural affirmation of sovereignty. And to be doing that in this ancestral line, to be regenerating that, but especially as a woman and a marker on a territory, that really struck me in a deep way. And it's amazing to be able to see the trajectory of that to the work that she's continued to do with her community in regenerating that beautiful practice of connection to the land.
Well, it's really important to document those women. We don't know the story of Marianne and all those cliff paintings, but it's absolutely amazing to think that one person could make such a difference in their own community. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel this exhibition is showcasing, is the power of community, the power of us as women being activists and being supported by the community. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you telling those stories, because those are the stories that the next generation need to hear.
Yes. And when we were talking with Jerry in the organizing of this exhibition, I would tell her, this is what my mom said. This is what I remember her saying. This is what I remember her writing. This is what Carmen told me. These are some of the conversations that they would have about the importance of giving messages of strength and love and having courage to be steadfast in doing what needs to be done, even amidst tremendous adversity from male leaders at the time, and who were diminishing women and not giving space for this kind of leadership on equal terms. And it was beautiful because we wanted to showcase this dedication that Carmen and my mother wrote to Indigenous Women of the Americas.
Right.
And Jerry said, it's like they're speaking to us today. So we wanted to really be able to share this with all generations, and especially to nourish future generations.
I think it's amazing that we wrote that over 40 years ago. And then when I reread it right now, this is so relevant. It's almost like we're still here. You know, even though we're part of the movement and so many things happened in the 70s, we had Albatross, we had Wounded Knee, we had big activism, and the American Indian movement was very visible and very powerful, but we're still in the same place, where as women, we're not being heard. So I think it's really important that we're rededicating this, editorial and this exhibition to all the women activists out there.
Yes.
It's so good to just be here talking about that.
We are living through a period of great changes, an important time in history, the destruction of the earth, the hardships that our people have known for the last 500 years cannot go on much longer. Many of us are feeling these things. Our actions of today are shaping our future. We have been given much in this life. It is up to us to be mindful of what we leave here for our children, our nations of tomorrow. It is a time of awareness and preparation for Indian peoples, especially for Native women. They continue to sustain us, for to them has been entrusted a special relationship with the cycles of life. It is in the spirit of recognition and appreciation that we dedicate this issue of Indígena to the Indian women of the Americas.
Estamos viviendo un periodo de muchos cambios, un tiempo muy importante en la historia. La destrucción de la tierra, la pesadumbre de nuestros pueblos han aguantado durante los últimos 500 años, no pueden continuar por más tiempo. Muchos de nosotros sentimos que llegó la hora del cambio. Nuestras acciones de hoy están condicionando nuestro futuro. Nosotros hemos recibido mucho en esta vida, Es nuestra responsabilidad cuidar lo que vamos a dejar acá para nuestros hijos, nuestras naciones del futuro. El tiempo de concientización y preparación para los pueblos indígenas, especialmente para las mujeres indígenas. Ellas continúan a sostenernos porque a ellas se les ha confiado la relación especial con los ciclos de la vida. En el espíritu de reconocimiento y apreciación, nosotros dedicamos esta edición de Indígena a las mujeres indígenas de las Américas.
Woo!
We did it. I can't believe it. It's so relevant. Like,
Yeah.
I'm reading it again. I go, oh my gosh.
It is.
It is.
It's powerful.